Hey friends, my name is Gabrielle and welcome to FrumiousReads, and I am just getting over a sickness and I don't have my camera on me and I am on vacation, so I am actually visiting my parents. So I'm recording this on my phone because I totally forgot to bring my camera, and today has been the first day that I feel like I'm actually okay enough to record my reaction to episode 2 of His Dark Materials. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I apologize for all the background noise and the freeway and the people cutting their grass and all that fun stuff, but this is what's happening. Oh, I'm such a mess. I look like a mess. I feel sick. I've just been sick. It's been super fun. The podcast was chaos this week because it erased itself, and then I feel like my voice is disappearing and my hair is sticking out in this one corner and it looks like a mop and I need to cut it and my life is a mess. But okay. Episode 2 of His Dark Materials came out on Monday for me. It came out on Sunday for BBC One, but it came out on Monday for me. And I finally had a chance to watch it when I was more coherent and didn't feel like I was dying. I was very surprised by so many things. Things first, I like how it just started off immediately with like a little mini recap and then jumping straight into where we left off in the first episode. So we get to see Lyra's reaction as she sees Miss Coulter's apartment and her whole floor. But we also, since now we're staying with Miss Coulter, we learn a lot more about her, such as how creepy she is and how she's really not a good person. And she does not have Lyra's best interests at heart. That was something that I was really enjoying watching. I just loved the amount of detail that they put in to show how untrustworthy she was. So for example, just the blatant lying straight to Lyra about how she didn't see the golden monkey so far away from Miss Coulter that Miss Coulter was like, there's an airplane. Okay, that Miss Coulter just told Lyra that she was sleepy and imagining things. I just loved how in depth we were able to go into the kind of traitorous nature of Miss Coulter and how involved she is in the Magisterium. We get to see a lot more of the Magisterium's relationships with the world and other worlds. So, for example, I don't remember what his name was, but I think I vaguely remembered he was mentioned in the books, or there was a character that was kind of similar to him in the books, and he travels to another world. I'm assuming travels to our current world, and it's just, we get so much more. This is only the second episode of the series, and we have already been exposed to dust, what its nature is. We've already been exposed to the factory in the north. We've already been exposed to the gobblers and how the Magisterium is trying to expand into other worlds and how these other worlds relate with our own and the people who travel between them. We are getting so much, and it is only episode 2. So I did make a note. It felt like there was absolutely nothing shown in the trailers. Like, we saw the briefest glimpse from the first 2 episodes in the trailers, and that was it, because there is just so much happening that I was not expecting to see within episodes 1 and 2. With that being said, I will say that I felt like this episode was a little slower than the first episode, and maybe it's just because this part, specifically when they're pulling from like the book, this part of the book is also probably one of the slower parts. Like, yes, we get a lot of information, and I like how we're getting it from all different sorts of perspectives in the TV show, but because we're just getting all this information, and yes, we do get to have a couple of action and highly intense scenes, it still feels like it was a little bit slower than the first episode. But I mean, if you can consider episode 2 slow and still have all of the stuff that we got to see in it, then I'm just so excited to see what they do for the 3rd episode. Poor Roger and Billy Costa, for some reason seeing them actually played by children who are very close to their actual ages in the book, like that young, just makes this all the more heartbreaking, because you really get to see how these little kids would react and how I love the defiance that Roger shows, because he knows who Miss Coulter is. He knows that, and he's very smart. He knows that Lyra would never stop looking for him, and just the amount of sass he was able to put into the letter he was writing was absolutely amazing. Miss Coulter's attempts at manipulating Lyra and how they really didn't work were interesting to see, because she's not good with kids, and Lyra is still at that point where kids are smart. Children are smart, and they can see when you're trying to get them to do what you want them to do and not actually caring about their best interests. even if she does like Miss Coulter originally. There were just so many great parts about this episode, and yet I feel like there's not a lot to say. We get to see a lot more of what the Egyptians are doing in London, and how they kind of come across Lyra's path. And that makes a little bit more sense because it's much more than just, oh, we were following the gobblers. It's like they were trying to rescue these kids. They had tips. There was missions in place. It makes more sense on how Lyra can come across their path in a more natural way. There's so much more detail going into this series than I ever imagined, and because they're taking the time to introduce all aspects of the world that Philip Pullman has created and how dust is so important to many parts of it, how all these worlds intersect with each other, I feel like we're getting such a full picture. And it's just amazing to see that amount of detail in only 2 episodes so far. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. I cannot wait for episode 3. I promise I will do my best to get a review up by Tuesday. So I hope that can happen. But for now, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry I'm so sick and this review is not as good as it could be, but I'm hoping that maybe I can go back and do another one when I'm feeling a little better and talk more in depth about the stuff that I saw in this second episode. But yeah, all right. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you come back on Tuesday for another episode review, and I will talk to you later. Okay, bye.